This test is for my trailer class, that's 4th period. If you're not in 4th period, then this is not the test that you're going to be taking on Friday. If you are in 4th period, the first thing we're going to work on is some vocabulary. When you multiply the factor, the result's called the product. This is some vocabulary words because in the test they're going to ask you to do a product, and you have to know that means multiplication. Another name for dimension of the rectangles are length and width. If they ask you for the length and width, that's pretty easy to find. But if they ask you for the dimensions, you have to know that that means length and width. When you take the length and width and you multiply them, remember product means multiply. When you multiply the length and width, you end up with the area. Another name for the dimensions are the length and width. We just talked about it right here. The length and width is dimensions, but another word for it would be factors. So now we know 3 different words that mean length and width. Factors, length and width, dimensions. If these are 2 exact, then they are perfectly the same. Perfect square. When you have a plus b squared, that means you have 2a plus b's. And they are perfectly the same. Everything about them is exactly the same. So we call them perfect squares. These almost are perfectly the same. The only thing different is the sign. And since they have one difference, we call them difference of 2 squares. Okay guys, there's 12 points on the test off of that, so make sure you study these, be able to recognize them. On the test, they're going to be a little tricky. Instead of saying multiply, they'll say get the product. Instead of length and width, they'll say dimension. Instead of factor, they'll say dimensions. And they're going to ask you to find out which one is a perfect square, which one is the difference of 2 squares. Now, Scott's rectangle garden has an area of x squared plus 10x plus 24. If it has a number here, we use the box method. If it does not have a number here, we use the product sum. What number multiplies give me 24? And I start listing them. But after they multiply give me 24, they add and give me 10. X positive 4, x positive 6. Super, super easy. It doesn't matter which one you put in first, it doesn't matter which one you put in second. But just in case you didn't know how to find those numbers that I made up right here, you can always ask your calculator and go to y equals and put the number, which was 24, and divide it by x. And then it lists those numbers for you. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. 10 is 4 and 6. Again, the same thing. If it has a number here, you draw the box. Without the number, you do plus and multiply. So the number is 36. Now again, I can figure out on my own what 2 numbers multiplied give me 36. But if I want to use the calculator, I'll make it a little bit faster. 1 plus 36 is 37. No, it should give me 12. 2 plus 18 is 20. 3 plus 12 is 15. 4 plus 9 is 13. Decimal, skip it. 6 plus 6 is 12. So I can put all those numbers right here. But the one that's going to give me the right answer is 6 plus 6 is 12. Now I have the right number, but I have the wrong sign. So I'm going to keep the numbers. They're going to give me 12, but I need to change their sign. So positive 6 becomes negative 6, and positive 6 becomes negative 6. In this case, these are exactly the same, so we call these perfect squares. In order to find the perimeter of the square, we're going to have to draw it. Now remember, a square has 4 sides, so you make sure you write down all 4 sides on there. And to get the perimeter, you add. So I'm going to line them up on top of each other and add them together. One x plus 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 4x. And negative 6 plus negative 6 plus negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 24. The final answer is 4x minus 24. Now this one's a little different because it has a number in the front. Remember, if it has a number in the front, we can't treat it like usual. We can't put plus or multiply. For those, you have to use the box method. The first one goes in the first box, the last one goes in the last box, and here comes the hard part. The number that has to go in here, so we can find all the multiples of it, is not the 15, It's 2 times 15. This is the only difference. 2 times 15 is 30. So go in the calculator, that's 30 divided by x. And here's all the numbers. 1 and 30 does not give me 11. 2 and 15, nope. 3 and 10, nope, that's 13. 5 and 6, there we go. 11 is 5 plus 6. So 5x, 6x. Those are the two numbers that go in the middle. We got them by multiplying these two numbers and finding the multiples of it. So, this point, these two, what do they have in common? Well, they both have an x, and they both have the number 1, because 2 times 1 is 2, and 5 times 1 is 5. So the number they have in common is 1. So 1 times 2 gives me 2x squared. 2 times 3 gives me 6x. 1 times 5 gives me 5, and 3 times 5 is 15. The answer is x plus 3, 2x plus 5. Again, if we want the perimeter, we have to draw the rectangle. Here's 2x plus 5, here's x plus 3, but don't forget, there are 4 sides to a rectangle, so I have to write down all 4 of them in order to add them together. Perimeter means add. So 2x plus 5, another 2x plus 5, 1x plus 3, 1x plus 3. That gives me 16, 6x. Whenever you see equivalence, you have to use your calculator. You do that by putting this in y1 and putting this in y2. And if the table is the same, then that's the equivalent one. If it's not, then it's not. So the trick is to press go to y equals. Put the equation in there. Now the calculator doesn't like the letter n, so I'm going to change it to x. And then the one they're asking if it's equivalent, that goes in y2. Notice right here it has 2x squared. So I'm going to find this up button that takes you up top, put a 2, come back right back down. Now here we go. Same, 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 same. So yes, this is equivalent. Let's try the one right next to it. Now I've already typed up the first one there, so I'm going to leave it up there. But the second one, now let's check it out. The same, different, 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 different. Are they equivalent? No. And I can keep going and doing the rest of them, so I'll just do one more. Again, the little arrow up, drop a 3 in there, come back down. As you can tell, they're exactly the same. Since they're the same, this is a yes. Now we can complete it for this one and this one and this one, but you can do that on your own. How can I tell if they're equivalent? Again, this is really easy. Plug into your calculator. You put the first one here. And I'll put this one right here. Now look at the table. And for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can tell, these are the same. These are the same. These are the same. These are the same. So, yes, it is equivalent. Jack was factoring this and he decided the factors are this. Is he correct? Now, I could use the box to factor it. But in this case, I could check to see if they're equivalent. If the equivalents are there, you can actually check your answers a lot faster with a lot less work. If you're able to use this trick on the test, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. So that one, is it the same? Is it correct with this one right here? Alright, let's see. Nope. They're all different. So, is he correct? No, he's not. So, if it's asked you, is he correct? Is it equivalent? Or is it equivalent? These are your calculator tricks. The greatest common factor, you got to take a look at the numbers and the letters one by one. They both have the number. 2 is 2 times 1, 4 is 2 times 2. The number they have in common is 2. They both have x. With the letters, you just write down the smaller letter there. And they both have y, so you put down the smaller letter there. Now once you find out what they have in common, you write it on the bottom, you write it off to the side, and you divide these. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. Y is crossed out. Minus sign, 4 divided by 2 is 2. X is crossed out. And y squared divided by y is just y. These only have one number in common, 5. If you take the 5 outside, these cross out. You're left over with x squared. And 20 divided by 5 is just 4. These three right here only have the number 1 in common, because it's 6 times 1 and 7 times 1. Only 1 has in common. They both have an x, but that's where we stop. This one has a y, this one has a z. So you take out one x outside, the 6 drops. X squared divided by x is x, z squared drops. 7 divided by 1 is 7. X is crossed out, y is left over. Now, 2 times x is 2x. X times x is x squared. X times nothing, I don't know. 2 times negative 15, that's negative 30. And x times negative 15 is negative 15. Now the factors are stuff on the outside. X plus 2, x minus 15. And the product is these two in the middle added. So x squared, negative 30. And in the middle, we have negative 15 plus 2x, which is negative 13x. On this test, we're going to have 15 points off of finding the product. Remember, product means multiply. So this is what we tested on last time. So you have to make sure you still have this skill. So you multiply by using the box method. 3x. When you draw the 2 here, draw a really small negative so you don't think about subtracting it. That's a negative. X and 7. No need to put the positive. That's a positive 7. These two multiply each other, you got 3x squared. These two multiply each other, you got negative 2x. These two multiply each other, you got 21x. And these two multiply each other, you got negative 14. And these two are going to add. That gives me 3x squared minus 14. And 21 plus negative 2 is positive 19. X negative 8. 2x negative 1. X times x is x squared. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16x. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. And negative 1 times negative 8 is just positive 8. Remember, these two have to add. See how it says plus sign right there? So the first one comes down. The last one comes down. And negative 1 plus negative 16 is negative 17. How'd you figure that out? Negative 1 plus negative 16 is negative 17. Don't put the x's there. The x just remains there. Just the numbers go in the calculator. Let's try this one. We have 3xy times x and 2y. Remember, x times x is just x squared. X times y just remains xy. 2 times 3 is 6. X times y is just xy. And y times y is y squared. Now, these two will always add. Remember, there's no number in the front, so that's a 1. First one comes down. Last one comes down. And 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 xy's. In this one right here, we have 2x3, 5x negative 7. Okay, number multiplies number, that's 10. X times x, that's x squared. Number times number, that's 15. X drops. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. X drops. And 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And remember, these two will add. So 10x squared plus 1x minus 21. Now for this test, I'm not going to do all these. I'm just going to do a couple. No number in the front, that's a plus multiply. 9 has 1, 9, and 3, and 3. This gives me 10. 16 is 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. 4 plus 4 will give me 8. Now that's the right number, but the wrong sign. So I keep the numbers, but I change their signs. Now that would work. X minus 4, x minus 4. By the way, that's a perfect square. Whenever they have a number in the front, that's when you have to use the box method. And this is when you have to still put the plus sign right here, But for the multiply, it doesn't go here. You take these two and multiply them together. That becomes negative 36. Out of all these right here, they have to add to give me a 5, and the answer is right here. 4 plus negative 9. 4 plus negative 9 gives me negative 5. So I have the right number, wrong sign. So I change the sign. Keep the numbers. Change their sign. So, first one goes here. Last one goes here. And in the middle, I got these two. These right here have one m in common. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. And negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So here for the factors is m plus 3 and 3m minus 4. Now again, I'm not going to do all these because that'll be waste. I'm just going to do a couple more. I'm going to do these right here. Now 8 squared minus 49 looks really good, but you got to realize that we're missing the h in the middle. So it has to be a 0. So 49 is 1 and negative 49, but also 7 and negative 7. That's a 0. Notice everything is the same except the sign, so these are a difference of two signs. Again, x squared minus 9, you're missing the one in the middle. So we're going to put a 0 there. So that's a plus multiply. There's no number here. 9 is 1 and negative 9, and 3 and negative 3. 3 plus negative 3 gives me 0. As you can tell, anything that has a difference of squares will not have an x value. Good luck on your test.